So in this lesson, we're going to discuss the benefits or, not benefit, the benefits and downside to working or not working in your facility. So, of course, you guys know I did both. So we're just going to run over some pros and cons. So choosing between working at an ALF yourself and hiring a full-time staff depends on your skills and resources and goals. Some owners find success in combination of both approaches, personally overseeing certain tasks while delegating others to trained team. So benefits of working in your own facility. Cost savings, that's the main one. You don't have to pay anyone. So if you work in the hours, all that money goes directly in your pocket. Especially when you're starting, you want to stack some money up. You want to work on, scaling. So like what I did was, I knew my first facility wasn't going to be my only one. So I worked to save the money up to build more, because a lot of times it's a formula. When you have a formula that, okay, this is what I want to make from this. You want to make $50,000 a month. How many facilities at this size can you make $50,000 a month and not work? So the first one, you may make 10 grand a month profit, but you could probably make 20 if you worked at least some days, at least 5 days a week yourself. You could probably make, if you're making 10, you could probably make 16, 17, 18,000. So it's like, okay, I'll work in the beginning, save some more money to then scale to open another one, and then scale to open another one after that. So I get to your $50,000 a month goal. And that's the easy way to do it. Then you get hands-on care. So you get to directly, take care of your residents. And believe it or not, they're always going to respect you more than they're going to respect the staff. When you come in, they're going to be like, oh, this is the owner. The owner's here. The owner's like the one helping. This is the decision maker. You're always going to just get more respect from everyone. So, and then it's just how it is. Like, the decision makers always get the most respect from the staff and from the actual families and from the residents. So then next one, you get flexibility. You can control your own hours. You can do day shift. You can do night shift. You can do a combination of both. So, you can pick your own schedule. If you like, I like to do the day shift and maybe have some nights myself. I took weekends off when I worked in a facility, spend time with my daughter. But you can really be flexible. If I didn't want to work one day, I would just call somebody in to come work for me. And like, I own the place, so it's like, it's mine. Whatever I say, it's gonna go. Then you get the personal touch. You're there, you get to create the atmosphere for your family, for a family-like atmosphere for your residents. And they feel like you're one of them. They feel like, oh, he's part of the family. He's making dinner for us, or he's eating dinner with us, and he's helping us out, or she. But they really appreciate that. And as I start to grow, I notice, when I work there, and now, as opposed to now when I go, the clients, they don't know me as well as they used to. I mean, they can. I'm not working there. I come check every now and again, but mostly you have managers running your facility, so you're not there. And some of my employees don't even know who I am. So my name's on your check. I go to the door and they're like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Well, my name's on your check," but they don't know me. I didn't hire them. The manager hired them. I have systems in place. Sometimes I'll just stop in the door tour, and they might not even know who I am. I'm sure they may have an idea, but they might not know how I look unless they Google me or something. But yeah, some of them don't even know who I am. And it's just different than when you work there. It's a little more rewarding, I'll say, than just, a place you really just have your staff there and your managers, and it's run more like a well-oiled machine. It's more like a family atmosphere. You feel like a part of the family, whereas opposed when you get a little bigger, you kind of lose that. And it's just natural. It's just the way it is. And then, some of the challenges of working in a facility is just the burnout. And that's real. When you work in these hours, everything falls on you. you're doing the grocery shopping. And now you have resources like online ordering. Like I didn't have that when we started 15 years ago. There was no like real delivery service. The only places that were getting delivery service were like restaurants back then. But now you can order bulk from Sam's Club, it'll get delivered. So now you have more things to prevent that, but still, you're working long hours, you're taking care of people, you'll feel it, you'll feel it. And it's natural, you want to break. But I say it's good to get that experience just so you know what your staff is going through. So you'll know like there's no way, like I already would know if there's no way the staff should work this many hours 2-3 days in a row. Like you need a day off. Someone needs to come and take, and give you a rest. So you'll have staff members that'll ask for more hours because they have bills. But in the back of your mind, like I know by day 3 or 4 you working these hours, you're going to be feeling burnt out. So because I've done it and I own the place and I was burnt out doing it. So you just know how they feel and you'll know the nuances of the business. So when you have clients that are more needy, you'll know how that feels. Instead of someone complaining to you, you're like, oh, I don't know, like I don't know how to operate a Hoyer lift, or I don't know how to like transport someone. I don't know what it's like to give meds to like 7 different people. You have no idea. You now you do because you work there yourself, but the burnout is real. So it's good to get that experience. At least in the beginning, I would always suggest you work some hours, get your training. I always, even if you own it and you say, I'm never going to work there, still take the manager's class, still get the training. It's not going to take that much of your time. If you're owning this business, you should know. Your employees shouldn't know more than you about the business that you own, or they're going to take advantage of you. So, and the next one is limited expertise. You need to grow those expertise, even if you're working alongside your employees. So even like by year 3, my place was fully staffed, but I would still go in because I was so used to working there. I would go in and work side by side with my employees, and they hated it because when they're there, they're like, shoot, I got to work hard because the boss is here working with me, and I'll outwork everybody. So like no one of my employees will go there and outwork me. So they're looking like, now I got to be on my P's and Q's because he's here. He's working alongside me, helping people, cleaning rooms, vacuuming, cleaning windowsills, and giving medication. He knows everything about this business. I can't pull anything over his eye. But if you don't know, I see people that get into this business and they haven't even taken a class at the very minimum. And the employees tell them anything. And I walk in the facility, they're like, oh, Kwame, can you come help me? I don't really know. I need to get my books together. The books look like trash. And I mean, like I said before, we'll talk about later, actually, it comes later. But when the state comes, they're going to look at your books. And your books are like trash, they're going to cite you. And that can be very dangerous for your facility because if you have any lawsuits or liability, you want to make sure all your documentation is in order. I go on people's facilities to kind of help remediate things that are going through. Like, clearly you have no idea what you're doing. You just got into this business because it was good money. And now you're like year 2 and your books are all out of whack. You don't have any, your employees aren't documenting and stuff. They're being lazy because you're not holding them to a certain standard. So if you start by working, you'll know, and then you'll be able to hold your employees to a certain standard because you know everything that's supposed to go into it. So, I always suggest you work in these places. It does come with its challenges, but you learn. School of hard knocks. Get in there, you learn. And when you can, step away, have somebody else do it. Even I have a lot of nurses getting into this industry. Yeah, they know more about the nursing side of it, and they're great, but they don't know about the business management part of it. So get in there, manage your business. Follow your own policies and procedures. See what it's like to work in your own facility and have to follow your own rules that you turn into the state, because it's going to be important, because those are the rules and regulations that you're going to have to make your employees stand to and adhere by. So you want to be able to say, I at least did it myself for at least a certain amount of time. Or at least at the very least, if you really are hell-bent on not working yourself, take the classes and just learn about it. Because some people, I have clients that really date them, like, I'm not working anywhere near the facility. Then I'm saying you need to just hire a good manager that's really good, that you can trust, and like have all your policies and procedures and everything and all your systems in place. But if you can, try to get some hands-on experience. And then time constraints, literally, like, we talked about this, one of the downfalls of working yourself. It's only so many hours in a day. You gotta be the marketer, you gotta be the caregiver, you gotta be the administrator, you have to be the one selling the rooms, you have to be the one talking to the state, you trying to get loans and expanding. That can all burn you out, which is why I stepped away from the daily work, and I just mainly like focus on the building and the putting in place, and I make sure I hire good managers. But I did years on the field in the trenches, so I earned the right to. But you should take all this into consideration because it can burn you out. And then just the scalability of challenges. As your facility grows, it becomes increasingly difficult to manage all aspects of your operation. So then you just start bringing people in. Hopefully you're making enough money and you can bring people in, even if some people get used to making the money, they never grow because they never invest in help. So people are like, oh, I can do all this myself and I make all the money. Why would I hire someone? Because you're never going to scale that way. So you'll scale by delegating your task. You'll make less on this one, but then you get to scale and do the same thing with the next one, because all your systems you learn from the new place, then from the old place and now in the new place, and you can scale again. And before you know it, you have 5 places, and you don't have to work. So always think about that. You can scale responsibilities and you can grow. It takes a little time, but it's better than looking down the line in 10 years, you're still working in your facility and you ran down where you could have scaled and you own 5 and you're making more than your 1 and you're not even working. You're just checking in every now and again. So don't burn yourself out trying to make all the money at once. Do it for a little while, knowing that it's an exit plan. And the benefits of hiring full-time staff, you can hire someone with more experience than you. If you're just starting out, it's always going to be best to have someone by your side that you can trust, that you can learn from, that you can work alongside with. They may have years, find someone with years of experience working other places, managing other places, and just let them grow with you. Like, hey, you started with me from this one, like now you could be my regional manager for the next 3. And, and you're gonna pay people, you're gonna, make less because you're paying people. But like I said, it's scalable. You can scale these facilities easily. And then you have full-time staff to provide consistent care. So, you don't have to be there. You got staff to come in and help out. You don't have the workload. The workload is, reduced a lot because now you can focus on the things you want to focus on. Like now I'm like, oh, I like doing activities. I can come in and be the fun guy. The nurses, the staff is in here working, doing the hard stuff. I can step in and help with that when things look like it's getting out of hand or something happened. But mainly I'm coming in and do activities. I'm just doing the things I want to do. I'm painting. I like to do handy stuff. So I'm going and painting and cutting grass and, doing the things I want to do. But I have staff to do the rest of the stuff. So you pick what you want to do and your workload can be reduced. And then you have, like I said, scalability. We just talked about that. You can definitely scale having staff. You're not going to be able to scale working yourself. It's just going to be impossible. It's just going to be a small mom and pop operation. Some people are happy with that. Some people are like, look, just like my one place, I make good money. I work here myself. I have somebody at night. When I want to take a vacation, somebody covers for me. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. You can make a good living doing that. But other people, they want to be to the point where they don't want to work anymore and they want to have it scaled to the proper point where they don't feel the need to work there, but they could if they wanted to, and they have the finances coming in to cover the whatever lifestyle they want to have. And then, like I say, you have the work-life balance. Work-life balance is important. You don't want to burn yourself out constantly working in a facility. You want staff to kind of have your back and be able to cover for other staff members. You always have your PRN people that come in case someone calls out. You have just different layers of staffing. We'll talk about staffing later, but it's definitely important that you have qualified staff there to help you at all times. It's the challenges of hiring full-time staff. It's just going to cost you more. You're not going to make as much money. Like, that's just the bottom line. You got to pay people. You pay for the less hay. So Yeah, it just is what it is. You're gonna make less, but you can scale it. And management challenges. If you're not good at managing people, it's hard. It's a skill. It's definitely a skill. It can be learned. And I suggest you take like some management classes or get a consultant, someone that's done it. Like if you can talk to me, I can give you management tips. But managing people is not easy because you get to hearing like some of your staff members sob stories, like, oh, I can't come to work this and I need a loan and like you gotta have stiff and rigid rules for people or people will take advantage of someone that's always coming late and you gotta fire them. You still having to fire people. And like, it's managing is its own art within itself. I think I'm gonna actually do a whole separate class just on managing facilities. But I would suggest you talk to someone, take some management courses, if you plan on scaling. I have policies and procedures that I'll attach, but it's beyond that. It's just more like working with people. And that's a lot of times that's what people have, problems with because some people are too nice. They let all the staff run over them. And then some people are just too mean and they don't keep staff. So you have to be somewhere right in the middle. I'm kind of a monotone person in business. So like people don't really know what I'm thinking, but I already know when I'm going to fire someone. I go in and I interview my clients. Clients will tell you, senior citizens do not hold their tongue. They were like, oh, this person is not worth SHI blank. I don't like this person. And you say, why? Because she doesn't clean, or she doesn't do this, or she doesn't do that. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll take that in consideration. And then you interview your clients, and all of a sudden, you start paying attention to yourself, and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to let this person go. And then you can have your schedule set up where you might not fire them, just leave them off the schedule and just don't bring them back. So it's certain ways to kind of, fire people and then just if they're on a contract, you just don't bring them on or in the contract or leave them off the schedule. So challenges of hiring full-time staff, less personal connection. So we talk about that. Like, it's just different now. When you go in, they don't really know you. They know you, the owner, maybe. Just going in, shaking hands. It's like, but you don't really develop a personal connection. Like I was really close to people that lived in my very first facility I took care of. Like I was the pallbearer and like a few of their funerals, and I took care of them for years. So it's like you grow these attachments, and now you go in, you're friendly, you get to know some people more than others because certain clients have strong personalities. But overall, it's just not the same when you're not directly caring for someone, which is fine. And it's just a part of the business, part of what happens when you go that route of like scaling to that level. And then, relying on staff completely to do everything for you, it can be a challenge because when it's your business, no one's going to outwork you. Like I just said, I go in my facility, I'm working, 100 miles an hour, I'm taking care of everything. And the staff is looking at me like, this man is in here working so hard. And they feel the need to work because I know I set cameras up in my facility, not in the bid rooms, but you can have cameras in a common area. So I see, I look in, I say, well, I would do way more than this person's going to do. And honestly, I have a rule. As long as your staff can give us 70% of what you're doing, what you would do, that's great. No one's going to give it 100% because it's not their business. If they can give 70% of your effort, then they're great. You keep them as long as you can because that's hard. Because if you're the owner, you're willing to go in and like lay it all out. So if someone can give 70% of that energy, they're great. So, it's just one of the things. You're relying on people to do things and they're not going to do it the way you do it. They're not going to have your temperament. They're not going to, resolve problems the way you would necessarily resolve problems. Most you can do is kind of like, tell them how you would do it and like if certain things, you make sure you make them do it a certain way. But otherwise, you just have to like kind of let go and just say, hey, you're doing a good job. If the clients aren't in danger, doing things your way. You're doing things according to the policies and procedures, but it's not necessarily like you're not giving a 100% effort that I would give because that's the owner and no one's going to do that. It's going to be hard to find someone to do that. If they do, you need to keep them as long as you can. And then it's communication, concern. showing consistent communication and staff members can be challenging and critical for quality care. So what I do to quell that, because you have all kind of people that's going to work for you. You have very smart people. You have people that may not be so smart. I just have, right care. I make sure everything is well documented. So care notes, incident reports. At we have staff meetings. I want to make sure my manager is communicating everything at the staff meeting. And I want to be able to go back and I want to be able to go by each day and see what happened in the facility. That way, if I don't even know my employees, talk to them, I can tell you exactly what's going on a day-to-day basis in the facility. And I can log in and go back to the time and actually see what was jotted down in the care plan or in the incident report and look on the cameras and see exactly what happened. So, you just try to keep communication, you try to keep it mainly documented, because in business, not even just this business, it doesn't really matter what someone tells you. It matters what they do and what they document. So, and they have to document that they did it, because the state's not going to come in and you say, oh, I did give that medication, but you never documented it. So if you don't document it, it's like you never gave it. So, or I did clean this person's room, and that person said you didn't. Like, they didn't clean my room. Did you document you cleaned Miss So-and-so's room today? No, then you didn't do it. I don't care. Like, take your time, do your documentation. That's communication to me. But you have sometimes employees, they don't want to document. It's like, I'm here, I'm working, I want to leave. When they get off, they want to leave, but they have to take that time out and document, just like in a rotation, just like any hospital, you have to do that.